Joining us now is Lee Morris. He served 8 years as a Fulton County commissioner, leaving in 2022, and he helped oversee many major policy decisions, including election administration. Welcome, Mr. Morris. Thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here, Rachel.
And Mr. Morris, you're running again to represent District 3. So first, what was your initial reaction when you heard about that FBI raid?
Well, my initial reaction was this is a very serious and disturbing matter. You know, the rule of law in this country has been fundamental since the country was founded. And to use the FBI as a purely political tool here is not what the founding fathers had in mind with the rule of law. It's quite disturbing.
And you were a Fulton County commissioner during the 2020 election. So take us back. What do you remember about that time and the fallout here in Georgia and specifically in Atlanta from the inside?
Well, the country was becoming more and more divided along political lines, and it's continued ever since. But we thought the election went well in 2020. There are always some snafus, little ones, but it's clear from the recounts and the audits that the election was not stolen. This is old history, and we need to put this history behind us.
And when folks hear about an FBI raid, I think for many it signals there was wrongdoing or criminal activity involved. So, Mr. Morris, does a raid like this automatically mean something was wrong with the election?
Well, I think this was a political move, Rachel. I don't think it's really a serious criminal search, but I understand that it was a criminal search warrant and not a civil search warrant. But no, it doesn't mean necessarily that a crime was committed. I don't think there was a crime that was committed. I think the elections, again, were fair. There are always minor little snafus in any election anywhere, big county, small county, any state. But this one was fair. The recounts and audits showed that over and over again. So I think it's purely a political matter. And the question is why? Is it an attempt to prove that the election was stolen somehow? Is it an attempt to stir up tensions and confusion leading up to the midterms? Is it some effort to deflect some of the things that are going on in the country in Minnesota and elsewhere with ICE? It's hard to tell what the motivation is, but I really honestly do not believe it's a serious attempt to find any criminal activity.
So what do you think the response should be from our local officials right now, from our elections officials to protect the independence of elections here in Georgia?
Well, it's a great question. I think everybody, whether they're elected officials or citizens, ought to be concerned about this and ought to be interested in speaking up and resisting this kind of effort. That's one thing. The other thing that maybe the county needs to do is engage some good, strong criminal defense lawyers. And I've passed a name on to the county that came to me from somebody who may be interested in doing this pro bono. So I hope that the county's going to be doing that, and maybe some of the state elected officials ought to be involved in trying to do the same thing.
And I want to end by asking what you think is next and how you think this could impact future elections here in Fulton County and Georgia as a whole.
Well, I hope this one just ends with a whimper, and that we don't have activities by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to try to interfere and engage in our elections, because the right to vote is just precious and fundamental, and we need to protect our democracy.
All right, Lee Morris, thank you so much for joining us, for giving us that context. We'll be sure to speak with you again, I'm sure, in the future as this begins to develop.